This is On Point with Miss Britt, bringing you Week 10 college football recap. All right, before we get into some things, let's discuss last night's college football playoff rankings. So we have number 1 Georgia, number 2 Ohio State, number 3 Michigan, the new number 4 TCU, number 5 Tennessee, number 6 Oregon, number 7 LSU, number 8 USC, and rounding number 9 Alabama. Rounding up the top 10 is number 10 Clemson. So obviously we're gonna get into what happened, what transpired for those for those rankings to turn out the way it is. Just like, okay, Tennessee's back in the hunt again. Let's see what happens. Are they gonna make it? Like, I'm gonna be irritated if they do make it, because it's like, okay, here we go again, 2 SEC teams, but that's a debate for another day. But I can see Oregon making it. TCU plays Texas this weekend, so we'll see what happens with that. They look like they should beat Texas, but anything can happen. Texas could potentially beat them, and then Tennessee will slowly creep up in the top 4. But we still got some more games left in the season, and unfortunately, we do know either Michigan or Ohio State will make it, which I think that sucks. Like, both of us should be able to go, but unfortunately, right now, it's either one or the other. So let me know how y'all felt about the rankings. All right, now let's get into it. Week 10. So, I thought Georgia versus Tennessee was going to be an epic game because Tennessee was number 1, Georgia was number 3, and I was wrong. It was just a straight butt whooping on Georgia's part. It looked like it was supposed to be a good game because on the first drive, Georgia's Dewan Edwards, he fumbled the ball, and it was recovered by Tennessee to Marion McDonald. And so Tennessee ended up getting that ball, and they ended up scoring a 47-yard field goal. And then after that, they pretty much didn't do nothing. They got beat up. And then everybody talking about that controversial call. Was it a safety or wasn't a safety? It was clear as day it was a safety, but just in case y'all did not know, it appeared that he got tackled, and he got tackled pretty much on the goal line, and everybody thought it was going to result in a safety. But the refs said that the lineman, he had moved out of the end zone and fumbled the ball, and it was recovered at like the 1-yard line. His knee was down in the end zone, so that should have been ruled down, and that should have been a safety. But whatever, they ruled it not a safety, and Tennessee ended up having to punt it away. So I mean, and it didn't make a difference anyway because Georgia went on to score like 2 more touchdowns after that. Hendon Hooker was held to 195 passing yards. He had no touchdowns and an interception. And then Georgia's quarterback, Stetson Bennett, he was 17 of 25 with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. And running back Kenny McIntosh was, he racked up 109 yards. So Georgia ended up beating Tennessee 27-13. All right, so number 2, OSU versus Northwestern. We went up to Chicago, where it was strong winds and heavy rain. And it definitely showed on the field. We struggled. Now, I'm not going to blame the weather for everything, but that was a huge factor in what transpired for this game. And we did win 21-7. And everybody's like, well, y'all the number 2 team, and you struggled against a 1-5 Northwestern. Yeah, we did. Our O-line could have been better. We could have ran the ball better. It really pissed me off. We couldn't even get a first down on 3rd and 1, and then we couldn't even get a first down on 4th and 1. But it is what it is. And Ryan Day even said he never played in conditions as worse as those conditions were up there. So, but I'm not putting it all on them. We could have did better. The O-line could have held up and could have, knowing that we needed to run the ball, because every time they passed it, the wind just messed it all up. So the Buckeyes didn't score until closing minutes of the first half when Egbuka ran it in from the 15. C.J. Stroud finished 10 for 26 and a career low of 76 passing, but he did rush for 79 yards. And we already know C.J. don't run. He already done told y'all he don't run, and he not going to run. But at least for this game, he knew that he needed to run in order for us to win. And actually, C.J. Stroud's 44-yard run set up Mayan Williams' second touchdown run from the 2-yard line. And Mayan Williams, he ran for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, y'all know that the weather had to have played a factor, because even on C.J.'s worst day, he passing for over 100 yards on his worst day. So come on now, he don't do no 76 yards passing. But like I said, OSU, they beat Northwestern 21-7, moving on to Indiana. All right, we had a major upset. Notre Dame versus Clemson, and they beat Clemson 35-14. Notre Dame's linebacker Prince Cawley scored on a block punt. Notre Dame's corner Benjamin Morrison returned an interception for 96 yards for a touchdown, and he had another interception to set up another touchdown. Clemson's loss ended a 14-game winning streak. Clemson's QB DJ Uiagalelei was pulled late in the third quarter. He had already been 13 for 19 and 78 yards, and they put in their backup Cade Klubnik, but then Klubnik, he had an interception, so they pulled Klubnik out and put DJ back in, and he finished 27 for 39, 191 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Clemson was held to 90 yards rushing. All right, number 5, Michigan. Well, they were number 5. All these rankings are in the past. We already done explained who's where now. All right, number 5, Michigan versus Rutgers. And they defeated Rutgers 52-17. But it was looking sketchy and ugly the first half, and we're not going to ignore that. Oh, yeah, and by the way, before I get into this game, back to the Notre Dame game. I need that same energy, because at the beginning of the season, y'all gave OSU a hard time that we struggled against Notre Dame. I need Clemson to be dragged through the mud on this one. I'm sick of y'all being quiet about it, and then now y'all backtracking. Notre Dame is this, or Clemson ain't even all that. Clemson been struggling, and Clemson was supposed to lose. They've been getting by on game. No, we want that same energy. Notre Dame showed up to play, and that's what happened. All right, now back to Michigan versus Rutgers. They beat Rutgers 52-17. They struggled in the first half. It was looking bad for them. J.J. McCarthy, he threw 2 touchdowns and ran for another as Michigan rallied back from the first half deficit because they were down. Blake Corum, he had 2 short touchdown runs, and linebacker Michael Barrett, he intercepted 2 passes in the third quarter, returning the second for a 31-yard touchdown. And that's one of the reasons why Rutgers fell in the third quarter. Michigan came back because of that defense. And mind you, the defense, they picked off Rutgers' freshman quarterback, Gavin Wimsatt, 3 times. So that was a part of their comeback story. Just saying. So I wouldn't talk too much, because, I mean, y'all looked real bad against Rutgers in the first half. Just saying. All right, now this was the game of the night. The game that we thought Tennessee and Georgia was going to play. But it ended up being Alabama and LSU. All right, so LSU's quarterback, Jaden Daniels, he was sacked 6 times but still managed to push through. So this game went into overtime if y'all didn't see it, and it was a thriller. Jaden Daniels, he ran for a 25-yard touchdown in OT and then decided to go for a 2-point conversion, which ended up successful because they just wanted to end the game. They didn't want to tie it, and no, they just wanted to end the game. But he found Mason Taylor in the end zone, and LSU ended up winning 32-31 in overtime. The game included 6 second-half lead changes and a game-time field goal by Alabama in final 30 seconds. Alabama began overtime with the ball and took a 31-24 lead after Roydell Williams, he scored his second touchdown of the game. Alabama's quarterback Bryce Young, he passed for 328 yards and a touchdown and an interception. And then Jaden Daniels, he stepped up to the plate. He passed for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 95 yards and a touchdown. And Josh Williams, he had a 2-yard touchdown run. So, congrats to LSU. They finally beat Alabama. All right, Number 8, Oregon versus Colorado. This was just nothing but a dominant game for Oregon. They beat Colorado 49-10. Oregon's quarterback, Bo Nix, he threw for 2 touchdown passes, ran for 2 more. He had 274 passing and 16 yards rushing. Oregon, they got really creative with their offensive play. Their offensive tackle, Josh Cornerly Jr., caught a 4-yard touchdown pass. And then linebacker Noah Sewell scored on a 1-yard drive. And they dominated 49-10. TCU versus Texas Tech. TCU's Darius Davis returned the first punt of the game for 82 yards for a touchdown. Kendre Miller ran for a go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. TCU's QB Max Duggan, he was 12 for 23, 195 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they beat Texas Tech 34-24. TCU has reached 9-0 for the first time since 2010. And they face off against Texas this coming up weekend, which will be a tough game for them. Number 9, USC versus California. They beat them. USC beat them 41-35. USC's quarterback Caleb Williams was 26 for 41, 360 yards, 4 touchdowns, and rushed for 38 yards and a touchdown. And then, so that's all the recap I have for this week. I'm looking forward to week 11 because it's getting real. And then I just want to shout out the Lady Buckeyes for upsetting number 5 Tennessee Vols 87-75 last night. The leading scorer for OSU was Taylor Mikesell. She had 25 points. So congrats to the Lady Buckeyes for taking them down and having that upset. Let me know what y'all favorite games of the week were and what do you think about the college football playoff rankings. And I'm out.